Patanjali Ayurved is a major Indian consumer goods company founded in 2006. It's known for its Ayurvedic products, a traditional Indian system of medicine that uses herbal ingredients. The company has grown rapidly, becoming a multinational conglomerate with a focus on health and wellness products, including groceries, personal care items, and supplements. When we talk about Patanjali, a lot of its credibility comes from its co-founder, Baba Ramdev. However, recently the credibility of the brand has taken a beating. It has been in the news for all the incorrect reasons since 2023. Now, the Supreme Court of India has ordered Baba Ramdev and the MD of Patanjali, Acharya Balkrishnan, to appear in court to address accusations of misleading advertising. The Supreme Court has also restrained Patanjali Ayurved from discrediting allopathy in its campaigns and advertising products that claim to cure chronic conditions. The Patanjali products claim to give permanent relief, cure diabetes and other diseases permanently as well, which in itself is extremely shocking. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Dr. P.S.V. Rao, consultant surgeon, Manipal Hospital. Also with us is Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, chairman of Nephron Clinic. Ojasvi, advocate from Karnataka, is with us on the program as well. Mr. Bijon Mishra, a well-known international consumer policy expert. Last but not the least, Dr. Anil Arora, director of the Institute of Gastroenterology and Biliary Sciences, Sir Gangaram Hospital. Dr. Bagai, I'll begin with you, sir. I hope you can hear me. Dr. Bagai?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Dr. Bagai, do you think, I feel personally that this kind of an advertisement and this kind of a branding, which not only tells you that this is a 100% cure for diabetes, this is a 100% cure for COVID, but it also is bordering on something which is extremely perilous and dangerous, because you're dissuading people from taking allopathic treatment, which could also result in loss of life. How dangerous is this precedent, and what kind of problems can Patanjali face because of these rampant advertisements which literally make no sense?
Good evening, Vineet. Good evening, everyone, and all the viewers. I think first and foremost, I'll break it up into three quick parts. The advertisements and the videos, and indeed the personal messaging from Mr. Ramdev and his colleagues in his organization are highly misleading. They are fraudulent. They are deceptive, spreading misinformation, and it's a willful misleading of a community at large, not only in COVID, but especially for conditions which are chronic, such as diabetes, hypertension, chronic liver disease, chronic kidney disease, hair loss, infertility, one-time magic permanent cure for malaria, dengue, cancers, arthritis, obesity, and so on. What is really important in part two of my discussion with you is important and vital to understand is that your window period for patients who are in chronic organ disease is very narrow. If you are misled to believe this magic cure, which is false, and you stop medication which is ongoing, your death is imminent. You're precipitating multi-organ damage and your mortality rate goes high. That means a person can lose his or her life. And last, most importantly, is I'm not disputing the fact that there are other science apart from what we practice as allopathy. Homeopathic is a science, Ayurveda is a science, and so on. Like we don't criticize any other science, I would request Mr. Ramdev and his colleagues not to criticize our field of medicine. Fields of medicines can coexist, but in medicine, we are not allowed to advertise per se, period. Finish. There is no discussion. Point number two, you cannot decry another line of medicine. You cannot say why doctors themselves died in COVID. I mean, that's horrific and one of the most insensitive statements to make. You cannot have a promotion of a magic cure. We know that cancer is killing millions of people worldwide. You don't have a cure. There is no magic in this. Why promote something which is misleading people, giving people a false sense of security to stop other medication, and therefore precipitating mortality and morbidity? I think this entire thing must come to an end. False misleading advertisements must end, and a huge penalty must be put on this company. Punitive damages must be put on this company, not only for misleading people, but perhaps many people have lost their lives. Over to you.
Absolutely right, sir. And Bijon, billions and billions and billions of dollars have been spent on curing diabetes. It's a very complicated disease, and we all know someone in our family or in our friend circle who's perhaps suffering from this disease. If it was that simple to cure diabetes, then all these billions of dollars that have been spent on finding a cure would have fructified into some sort of a cure, but it has not. Do you think that this advertising is also cruel, and it's in fact very insensitive to people who do not understand this disease completely?
Vineet, let me first tell your viewers that there is a well laid out laws. There are very well laid out laws in the country to protect the interest of the consumers, and there are regulators to regulate these laws and to ensure that they are implemented in letter and spirit. Firstly, I must acknowledge that the Honorable Supreme Court recognized the seriousness of such matters and then took it into cognizance one of the entities to be prosecuted, and an order was sent. But what is lacking is the Supreme Court should have immediately, in this contempt of court proceedings, there is no room, there is no compromise on giving them opportunity to be heard any longer. They have to be penalized to such an extent that a very strong message should go to all. Why only to this particular brand? Why not to all brands which are mischievous, misleading, deceptive, and compromising on the health and safety of the consumers? The point which I want to make is that where are the regulators? Why are they sleeping? And why have they been caught napping on such serious issues? And as you know, that what we need to understand is that it is not promoting a particular brand. This is not a particular brand which is being promoted. It is something to do with your health and safety. And as you very correctly said, Vineet, that if it was so simple, then we wouldn't have been suffering with such a high cost of healthcare burdened on us. 2 crore people are pushed below the poverty line every year because of the high cost of healthcare. And instead of looking into such matters, and where I'm again happy to say that there's a separate discussion where the Supreme Court has intervened and has now directed all the hospitals to come out with some kind of a ceiling in terms of costing of healthcare, which nobody is talking about. So now the point I want to convey is, it is high time a serious action is initiated by the Honorable Supreme Court to wake up these sleeping regulators. They have to be made effective, efficient, and work in the interest of the citizens, because crores of citizens' public money is being used to sustain such regulators, giving them fat salaries, lot of amenities, lot of facilities. Then what they are doing? Why are they not acting on such issues where the poor, vulnerable citizens are becoming victims of such mischievous, misleading, deceptive, kind of advertisement? And it is clearly defined. I'm happy that we've got lawyers in the panel.
Okay.
It's clearly defined as an unfair trade practice.
Absolutely.
Clearly defined.
Ojasvi, I'm also in fact going to narrate a similar instance where, an Australian company by the name of Red Bull had to cough up $13 million because their tagline said that Red Bull gives you wings. Somebody sued them, alleging that this is not something with what happens when you drink Red Bull, and they had to cough up $13 million. Now that is the level of integrity that should be shown by the regulators, but unfortunately that is not the level of integrity which is shown by some of these corporates who are looking only to in fact take advantage.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.